Austin Kelly here on the Austin Kelly Show. We are here with business owner Tyler Uriah, right?
Tyler Uriah Copenhaver Heath.
Why 4 names?
Well, bastard child for one.
Oh, okay. So, starting in heavy.
And then Tyler Uriah is kind of the pseudonym I developed. It's my first and middle name, obviously. But when I first got into like making any like sort of social media posts, I was so afraid of it. I like started under Tyler Uriah, and that's basically been the way I've been doing my social media stuff for a while.
Tyler Uriah Copenhaver Heath.
Yeah.
Heath.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, and you wanted core waters, so why? Explain core waters.
I'm a water guy in general. Mm-hmm. That's all I really drink for the most part. Like every once in a while I'll have something else, but not very often. Mm-hmm. And I always like core the best. And it might just be that it has a bigger opening at the top. I don't know.
Does, yeah. I love core water. I drink mainly water and sometimes Powerade and the occasional orange juice. But you're all water.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Like every once in a while I'll have something different. Like if I'm in Mexico, I like those Mexican Cokes. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's stuff I like, I just don't really drink it, right? Like I'll go years sometimes without having a soda. Not big on juice. Yeah, water.
Yeah. I don't like soda at all.
Yeah.
It just like tears up my insides. Whenever I do drink it, I just don't like it.
I mean, the other thing is, it's like, so in my undergrad, it's like constantly, like you're working with formulas and stuff, and it's like always water is involved. And so that really hits home. It's like water is everything in humans, you know, it's like, so it's important to
What
drink
percentage of us is water again? Is it like 80,
so
90,
it's high.
90% or something like that? Yeah.
Have you seen that stuff with the, that's why like the tides affect us and the moods affect us and things like that? Because
yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
Because obviously the moon pulls on the tides.
Yeah.
You know, so
I guess
that's
that
why
makes
in theory.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know.
Well, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
A lot to talk about. First and foremost, I want to talk about a very important subject that you brought up about a month ago. And I want you to dive deep into this about the defining moment in a person's life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Explain more about the defining moment.
This is my newest nerd thing that I'm into, is these defining moments. And like, I'll hit a couple. So Matthew McConaughey, for instance, right? He knew he wanted to be an actor, you know, forever. And he goes in, and there's this defining moment in his life, I think. And so I've keyed it into this maybe.
Yeah.
And walks into to this movie set, and he's not supposed to be there that day. He's trying on wardrobe, and they're like, hey, why don't you just say something? You're here anyways. And so he's sitting there, he's like, okay. And he's like trying to come up with a line off the top of his head. And he explains in his book how he does this, you know, but he basically goes, and he goes, all right, all right, all right. That was the line.
You guys know the famous line, all right, all right, all right.
And that propelled his career, right? So it's interesting to me. He wanted to be an actor forever, was doing all these things. In this moment where he's told to improv, he says, all right, all right, all right. That changes his life, right? So David Beckham, watching a documentary on him the other day, kicks a soccer ball from half field. Always into soccer. Trained it. And then when he hit that goal from midfield, changed his life. Defining moment. The Will Smith. Will Smith had a couple defining moments, but like one in particular is he had some success in the rap industry, right?
Oh yeah, huge success.
Yeah. And we obviously know then it went to TV, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and then to movies. We could argue semantics about this, but I think when he got into movies, that's when he hit superstardom, right? So what was the path to movies? And that was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So here's Will. He's out in the world. He's being funny. He's learning music. He's into all these different things. He gets invited to a party, and he has to live audition right there in front of all these celebrities and everything for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Kills it, gets the role, and now... So was that his defining moment? And I'm like kind of focusing on entertainers right now.
Yeah, I think that you could count that as his defining moment. Yeah.
So now let's take it into our own lives, right? Because these guys were constantly working. David Beckham wanted to be a soccer player his entire life. It's a little bit easier if you know what you always want to do, you know.
As what we were talking about before we started recording,
Yeah. I mean, it's not always easy because most of us don't know what we want to do, you know. But I mean, Arnold, another key example, we could go into
Oh,
him.
yeah.
And so like right now I'm like kind of researching defining moments, but the premise is it's like we have to prepare for that defining moment too. Because the defining moment could come up, for anything. It's like we could talk about Caesar, we could talk about Patton, we could talk about people in history, Ronald Reagan, we talked about George Washington.
Can I talk about Larry King's defining moment real quick?
Let's do it.
So Larry King, he moved to Miami to be on a radio show. He wanted to host his own radio show. He was given a chance. Long story short, this was his first time ever on air on this radio show. And he's on air, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. He's scared.
Yeah.
He says nothing. Fear got to him in that moment.
Yeah.
The boss kicks the door open. He's like, "This is a communication business, so you better communicate, damn it." Larry King he went back on air and he was like, "All right, guys, so I was and I kind of skipped ahead before this. His real last name is Larry Zeiger." And he looked up at the Miami Herald on the magazine. He looked up this ad for like something Kings. And his boss said, "It's too ethnic, your last name. You got to change your last name." And Larry King just said, "Oh, that ad speaks to me. I'll just change it to King." So Larry King. And anyways, after his boss kicks the door open, tells him to communicate, he's like, "All right, guys, I am very nervous. This is my first time ever hosting my radio show. My boss just told me to communicate, and I'm letting you guys know I'm very nervous. I was given this last name, Larry King, and I will try my best to do my job and be the best I can." And ever since then, he has never been nervous.
Wow.
He's never been scared. Just went for it.
Did people attach to that immediately that he said that?
Yeah.
Is that what like propelled him?
Yeah, because him admitting and being truthful that he was scared and nervous, people can relate to that. So
I mean, that's some of the preparation. That's some of the like rising to the occasion.
Yeah.
That's some of the just luck and feeling it out, But is there in everybody's lives a defining moment? And some of us aren't even prepared for it, right?
What was your defining moment?
I don't think I've hit it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I'm building towards it. And I think that's most of what life is building towards the defining moment.
Well, you own multiple businesses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So has there not been a defining moment for you in any of these businesses?
Like, of course there's small ones, right? And there's like things that push you into the next one. There's pivots, for instance, in business, and that pushes you into the next stream of business. And a lot of times that stream's a little bit better. But I think about defining moments these days is like the optimum to seize in our potential, right? And I think I'm building towards the optimum to seize on my potential. And those businesses are all part of that journey, So I think my defining moment is still coming, and everything I'm doing, including building businesses, is preparing for that defining moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Theoretically,
yeah.
I could have already had it. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I wasn't prepared for it, but I think it's still yet to come.
What are some of the highs and lows in owning your own business for you? I mean, there's a whole bunch.
I do such a good job of focusing on the lows, because nobody talks about the lows. And I've had a lot of lows, and so people that know me well tell me I need to write a book, because like I've had so many lows and so many like freak occurrences, and I mean, business is hard. It is really, really hard. And, like that's the thing too, is like the world won't tell you that these days. There are very few people out there saying that business is hard. They want to say it's easy. You can work your own hours. You can have just tons of money. No, it's not for everybody. And like, this is super unpopular to say, depending on what's going on with you in life and your obligations and things like that. Some people shouldn't have a business, right? Until they get things situated.
Right.
My first business was make it or be homeless. But at least the only person that truly affected was me, right? And so like I can take those risks. But I mean, the best thing about business is your ability to change anything you care about. That is the best thing. And that's what I've learned through owning a lot of businesses, being involved with a lot of business, helping a ton of people. And I tell people this all the time. Maybe it's going to be on my gravestone. It's like, don't do what you love in life. Do what you hate. Mm-hmm. That thing you hate, come up with a way to solve it. Mm-hmm. And you can do that through business.
That's true.
I mean, I've probably talked to you about Yvonne. I always say his name wrong, and I got to really like get better at it. But the guy who started Patagonia, have I talked to you about him before?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so
Maybe?
he is like one of my prime examples for this. So he's founder of Patagonia, loves mountain climbing, right? And he wanted the mountains to be available for future generations. And so he's worried about climate change and that sort of stuff. And so I tell people like this all the time. It's like the thing he hates is the thought that there's not going to be mountains available to subsequent generations. So now how can he solve that? There's a couple different ways that he could try to help with that. One of the major things that would come to your mind immediately is, oh, I'm going to start a charity, a foundation. You know, I'm going to, like hold signs. I'm going to raise education and awareness around it. Instead, he didn't do that. And this is what I suggest people do, is like he started a for-profit business, Patagonia. He made clothes. And a percentage of each one of those articles of clothing was donated to climate change.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah. And so now, like, he could have started the foundation, the charity, and maybe he knew some rich people and he raises a couple $1 million a year for climate change. Instead, he's selling his clothes, percentage goes to that. So big news, he just decided to retire. He's been doing this for quite a while.
Wow.
His shares were worth $3 billion.
$3 billion.
Gave
oh my God.
all of those to climate change.
Wow.
One side, start a charity, maybe he made a couple $1 million worth, and then he has to wait for those donations, he has to beg for them. Instead, he had control of his destiny, for-profit business, $3 billion towards what he was passionate about, right?
That's insane, yeah.
So, like, that's what I suggest people do. And I make it super dramatic, right? You know, maybe, like, the thing that you hate is, like, you can't get a good burger in this town with good customer service. That's okay. I prefer to stay in the realm of like really dramatic. You know, it's like we're working on a new foundation right now to help age out foster youth.
Oh yeah, you were explaining that to me a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it's basically like, you know, I worry about saying this on a podcast without going into all the details of it because it might sound horrible.
Yeah, was it the details you were explaining?
Yeah, we're basically working on developing a ranch, right? And the ranch monetizes through a bunch of different ways. And in turn, we're able to house and job age out foster kids.
Right, yeah.
I mean, there's a first step to this too, really banding together all the people in the world that are currently doing. Oh, by the way, if you're involved with age out foster systems, please get in touch with me. We're working on a hub that all these kids can go to and see what's available. Because one of the biggest problems is they don't know what's available and they don't know how to use it, right? They don't know how to sign up for it. Because there is things. It's like ASU, for instance, is free college if you grew up in foster care.
Wow.
You know, and so like they just don't know how to use those things. They're young. They don't know how to advocate for themselves. It's proven that people love Malcolm Gladwell, by the way. A lot of this stuff comes from him. It's proven that like people that come from impoverished areas, hard upbringings, they don't know how to advocate for themselves, right? They don't believe they can do things. They don't believe they can have things. So first step is we're creating a hub so they have a place to go, get good information, and then I would love to hire an age out foster kid at some point that like becomes aware of the systems and walks his fellow kids through it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. And then the next step that we're really working on is the ranch, you know, that we have a bunch of ideas for it. We have had some success around events and renting facilities and things like that. So that's a big part of what it would do. But that's moving fast. But that's another example. It's like this is a for-profit business with an incredible mission, right? And most of the reason I want to do it that way is because I think businesses run better. And nothing against charity people, but I just think they function better as businesses. And then I don't want to rely on donations. I like things that are self-functioning. I mean, Sunshine Acres? Yeah, in Mesa, you're familiar with it?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite charities because what they've done is they take their donations, which is furniture like this that you're going to give away, and then now they sell it in their distribution center, and that partially funds the home. So I think that charities that learn how to do that sort of stuff, or for-profit businesses that learn how to make good missions out of their business, like I think now you're in missions and purpose. And if you're in a mission and a purpose, now you're going to lead a more fulfilling life, I think, right?
Yeah.
So maybe my defining moment is the moment I get to turn the key on starting the ranch, right?
That would be awesome. Yeah. Because what you were explaining, like a couple nights ago, where these kids would end up if it wasn't for the ranch, it's just horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible.
I mean, two stats off the top of my head from the meeting I gave the other day is 80% of death row, people on death row, were in the foster system.
That's horrible.
80% of the people on death row were in the foster care system. 60% of the people that have been sex trafficked were in the foster care system. So I say this all the time, even if you don't care about kids, and there is people out there that don't care about kids, it's like, maybe you care about society. Maybe you care that somebody's going to shoot you tomorrow. You know, at least, you know, like it's a problem, you know. I feel for the kids. That's where I get like heartbroken, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the great thing about being here all the time. I meet amazing people. I met a youth advocacy group for penitentiaries, you know, youth penitentiaries around here.
The youth penitentiary?
Yep.
Wow.
And I heard that they were basically telling me that when kids have nowhere to go in the foster care system, when we're out of homes, we send them to the pen.
God, that's horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I always murder this word, but what's the recidivism rate for somebody that goes to jail? In reoffending, it's like 90%, right? So now we're sending somebody to jail before they even offended, right? And so it's just crazy to me.
They don't belong in. They didn't ask for that life.
No.
To be that doesn't make sense to me.
No. And so it's up to people, and that's what I love about being an entrepreneur. Back to that.
Yeah.
It's like I'm really good now at putting anything I want out there in the world. Like I can create something very easily. You know, it's like, and that wasn't a thing years ago. I didn't know how to do that. Now, like I know how to put anything together. You know, I know how to start grabbing resources. I know how to start combining people. I can build anything I want to in this world. And that's a result of building businesses, right? That is the greatest thing. I don't care what anybody tells you.
Tyler.
Yeah, it is not the Ferrari. It is not the huge house. It is not Jeff Bezos' yacht. I don't care. Look at the richest people in the world and pay attention to them. Pay attention to what they do. Look at the celebrities. Look at the, you know, you can look at them as test subjects. Most of them are miserable that haven't found a purpose. You can say what you want about Elon, but I think he's pretty content because he feels he's on missions of purpose.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And that's what's sad, like a Chris Farley or somebody like that. You know, our whole lives were raised. It's like we're told, you have success, you have fame, you have the pretty girlfriend, you're going to be happy. And
It's all about being humble.
Well, when they get there,
Yeah.
they're not happy. They're drinking because they're not happy. They're under all these stress and pressure. Look at a lot of the celebrities.
Drinking, gambling, drugs, you know.
Yeah, look at them. You know, it's because they lack purpose and mission at that point, right?
You know what's interesting? I find it funny that a lot of the famous celebrities that seem happy or that are most likely really happy are the ones that don't show that they're rich.
Yeah.
Really. Like what we were talking about, like Adam Sandler. He goes on these talk shows dressed like in a normal shirt, shorts. Dirk Nowitzki, we were talking about him.
Yeah.
He would come to an NBA game pre-game with, you know, leftovers in Tupperware, wearing casual clothes. Those are the people that you really got to pay attention to. Yeah.
Well, because they're defining where their importance is, right?
Exactly.
I mean, Jim Carrey, isn't it Jim Carrey that has the quote that says, "Be careful who your happy friends are"?
I think so.
Or something like that, like masking, like you think they're happy, they're not actually happy.
Yeah. I think you got to pay attention to those people because they don't forget where they came from.
Yeah.
And that's very important.
Well, and that's another thing. I love working with underdogs because the people that came from tough stuff, if they have their own success, they go back and fix the tough stuff, right? That's why people are so content.
Yeah.
I mean, Garth Brooks has something that I thought, I was watching a documentary on him. Really interesting guy. Seems like a really nice dude. And he talked to JFK Jr., JFK's son. JFK Jr.?
Junior, yeah.
So he's asking him, he's like, what do I tell my daughters about being raised the kid of Garth Brooks? Right? Because that's actually pretty tough. It's like if you're raised as the daughter, son of somebody that like had tremendous success, what's that like, right? And JFK Jr. says, tell them right away that nobody will ever believe they earned it. And And so I tell people all the time, you had things rough, like it sucks. I'm sorry you had to go through all this awful stuff. But at the same time, nobody will ever think you didn't earn it. How horrible would that be? You work so hard and everybody just says, oh, let's say one of Garth Brooks' daughters worked so hard, busted her ass, wouldn't take anything from Garth Brooks. And they would still say, Garth Brooks did that for you.
Or you used his name just as your dad, Garth Brooks.
Yeah. And that was to his point, it's like, so I applaud people that actually are raised that way with that, and they still have caring for the world, because I think a lot of caring for the world comes from experiencing the bad things firsthand.
What about the kids, like kids growing up, how some people will tell them, oh, you'll never amount to nothing, or, oh, like bullies, for example, like you'll never amount to anything, or, oh, you're just bullying them. Like, do you think that obviously has effect on a kid and that would affect their decision making?
It makes me really mad.
Yeah. Because,
like, for instance, that happened to me when I was a kid. But I think it's just as much a tool that will destroy you as build you, know? And so I didn't believe for a long time I could do anything. And then I finally got to a point where I believed I could.
Wait, how old were you when?
I was getting told this around probably 15 to 18-ish. And so told you would never amount to nothing. You're going to end up like your father. You're going to end up in prison, like a lot of this sort of stuff. And I believed it for a long time.
That's horrible.
I was told I wasn't smart, right? Yeah. And so college was scary. I didn't dare go to college for a long time. But then when I finally went, I was so afraid of it, because I was told I wasn't smart. I just thought I was not smart enough for school. Why I even dared it, I don't even know. I'm glad I did, because then I got there and I found out it was pretty easy. And then once I found out it was easy, then I got mad about it. And I think that's maybe the key. And I was like, okay, what is the hardest degree they possibly have at this place? I want the hardest degree. And the hardest degree I possibly knew of then was biochemistry. So I went towards a degree in biochemistry. I got a degree in biochemistry, and I ended up loving it, enjoying it. Life, I guess, comes full circle. Now, I don't think it's right that they told me that, because it came close to destroying me too. But at the end, I think it was partially a flip off, and then it ended up being a good thing for me, right? It's like, screw you, I can do this, and then
you can literally do anything you amount. Yeah. Like when you have that mindset, you could do anything. Yeah.
The problem is most kids will believe then they can't do it. Right. And that's where the danger lies. I don't believe in it at all. I believe in supporting kids. I believe in telling them they can do it, because this is so powerful. It's like Michael Jordan's one of my favorite people to watch.
Oh, yeah.
As far as like what he does in the world. And I think the reason he is so powerful, he is so good, is this.
All mindset.
I don't think it's an innate ability. I think he outworks everybody, and it's this. He's told himself he's the greatest person in the world so often that he became one, right?
Similar to Kobe Bryant. He was the same exact way. Yeah, but who did Kobe emulate?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Michael Jordan's one of the most powerful mental people in the world to me, right? And so I think it's imperative. And like, if you can start believing a little earlier, and none of us believe as kids, right? Unless we have a really good support system. So the earlier you can start to believe, now you can get on the road to your defining moment, right?
There we go. It circles back to the defining moment.
It does.
How important is just home life in general, do you think, for a child, like parents and environment?
Well, I know to some extent the stats around that, and like what's interesting is it's more important to be in a good community than it is to have good parents.
That I could see that.
That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. And so if you have good parents and you're in a bad neighborhood, you're actually you're less likely to succeed than the person that's in a rough area, a nice area with good parents.
Right.
Bad parents, excuse me.
Bad parents.
I screwed that up, but I hope the audience gets it.
Yeah, bad parents. Yeah.
And so like home life's imperative. If you have a good support system, you're that much further along. I mean, those of us that didn't have a good support system growing up, we Mr. Magoo'd our way through. We just got lucky, right? And that's why probably a big reason I like to work with kids and around bullying and all these things is because, number one, I don't want them to have to just luck into it. If you have some guidance, it can be that much better. And you can screw your life up in those years, and that scares me. Not for me, I'm past it now. For them, that's what I'm scared about. But maybe as I reflect on it, how close I came to screwing it all up. And then the other thing I know is the adversities, the underdogs, when they're brought to success, these are the people that actually change the world.
Oh, yeah.
You look at most of the people that have had the most impact in the world, look at the way they were raised. And that's why it sucks. We do a lot with the bullying issue, as you know. It's like, I don't want those kids to deal with that. That's horrible. Like, it makes me sick. That's why I got involved with it, you know? But at the same time, if they can get through it, they're the ones that actually change the world. So it's like, it's a double-edged sword in a way, because it's actually going to be what leads them to their future potential in so many ways.
That's great. It's all up to the next generation.
Yeah.
It's kind of switching gears, but how do you feel about what Mr. Beast did
With the philanthropy
with
stuff?
the philanthropy stuff? Yeah.
Well, so I can tell you firsthand that I met Darren, his head of philanthropy, when I was at Vid Summit. And Darren doesn't really know this, but I was kind of like hanging out nearby, and I listened to him talk to some people that he knew. And his conversation was real and caring. He was the type of guy that, like, he does this for no other reason than to help the world, right? And he begrudgingly did it. Mr. Beast was after him to do it, and Darren's in charge of the whole philanthropy unit. And I love what they're doing. Absolutely,
It's ridiculous
love what
that they got so much flack for doing the wells.
Oh yeah, I'm on Team
Ridiculous.
Beast. I'll protect him in any room. You know, like, Mr. Beast, you need a bodyguard, I'm there, right? Anytime.
You're good bodyguard for anyone to have. Yeah.
So, like, I believe in those guys a lot. Darren,
Because they were even saying, oh, he's just doing it for views, or oh, like, he's just spreading more awareness of how messed up was Africa.
I don't care why he's doing it, to be honest. He's doing it. He's doing something, right?
And it helped them.
Yes. And so, like, but I don't think that's why he's doing it. I think he's actually a good-hearted dude, and I think he's one of the few good role models to the younger generation. The world is a result of its heroes. You know, we do our Redefining Heroes podcast. Or, I mean, docuseries, excuse me. And it's like, we set out to show amazing heroes of the world because we look at the wrong ones. You know, we don't look at the right heroes. And so I think Mr. Beast is a hero. I want kids growing up to say, hey, I want to build a YouTube channel that, like, helps build wells in Africa. Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of kids nowadays, they dare I say, brainwashed on what they see on TV a lot of the times by the wrong influences.
Oh, yeah.
And that's horrible. I don't like that.
No, that's where the money, cars, and that's really marketing.
Well, especially nowadays with the TikTok generation, you'll see girls shaking their booty and all that stuff on.
We're fools. We sell into this system.
I know. Yeah,
you know, it's like the marketers of this world have told us we need all this stuff to be happy, and people get it and they're not happy, right? But then we continue to try to do it. Oh, so and so the YouTuber is so happy because he's got the Ferrari. No, he's not. We've all seen the documentaries. They're not happy, you know, like, unless they have a purpose like Mr. Beast does. Mr. Beast has a passion around what he's doing, and now he's using it to give back, right? So, like, I don't know. We've talked a little bit about Mr. Beast, but I'm fully on his side, you know, and, like,
Team Beast.
Darren's a beautiful man. His head of philanthropy.
Yeah.
I protect those guys in any room, any day.
Switching gears again, I wanted to touch on the topic. You brought this up on your Instagram a while back about how gym culture has changed over the last 20 years. Explain more about that.
I've been involved with gyms for way over 20 years, I think, now.
But, like, how it's changed, like, just how people greet each other.
Well, and even so, like, I've been involved with MMA gyms and weightlifting gyms for a long time. Even the psychology around those two is, like, so different than you would think. But like, weightlifting gyms, when I first started going, it was such a community, right? Everybody was super serious about it, way more serious than now. But what else is funny too is, like, you never wore fancy clothes to the gym. You know, everybody that's
I see
watching
people
this
now that they do. Yeah.
Anybody that's watching that's around my age or older, it was your ripped up, you know, like the shirt that was all cut up and beat up. You know, it's like nobody wore fancy clothes to the gym, and you said hello. You weren't too good to say hello to people. You know, it's like if you saw somebody that needed a spot, you'd help them. You know, like, and then, like, I'm lucky I was around. You know, like, one of the only reasons I don't know, like, we believe in ourselves to a certain extent, and sometimes somebody else's belief in us is helpful, right? So the first time I ever benched over 300 pounds is because this old biker dude told me that I could do it, you know, that I would talk to.
Sometimes that's all you need is that extra voice.
Yeah, I didn't think I could do it. And then, like, he's like, Tyler, you could do it, trust me. You know, and it's like, I try it, and it was easy. You know, I was like, and so that community was great. I think we lack that, you know, a little bit these days. Now, MMA gym, no. We don't lack it. There's still kind of that community. There's that friendship involved. There's a lot more trust in the MMA in the MMA gym. But you need it. You have to have it.
I'm sure nowadays it's night and day difference.
Yeah.
Between community gym and then the MMA gym nowadays, because nowadays it's so the community gym, like LA Fitness or whatever. Because of social media, this is what I see. A lot of girls, they're just going there to flaunt their improvement, their body, which is great. Like, you're getting healthier, but like, I feel like a large portion of that is, you're just doing it to show your glutes and like pose and all that. I see. There was one day I was at the gym and I saw this girl. She had like her phone and tripod stand.
Yeah.
And I forgot what she was doing, but it looked like she was just doing it for social media.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, come on.
There's just my big thing is there's no reason to be unpleasant. Like this girl was kind of using like nearby a piece of equipment, and then like, I guess automatically girls default to thinking you're hitting on them. And I don't blame her. Like, I look like a homeless guy, and so it's like, but I wasn't hitting on her. I was literally just asking if she was using it. She gives me this look of disgust, and it's like, I don't think that's something that would have happened 20 years ago. Maybe my memory's foggy, and, I live in this now, like, loving world, that but I don't know.
Well, I will say
seem like it was that way.
I will say the gym I go to, the community is pretty tight there if you know the people, especially the regulars. Like, there's people that I see there at the gym, and we all say hi to each other and talk, catch up, and all that. So there is still some of that community there, but compared to 20 years ago, probably not the same.
No, I have a lot of friends from my weightlifting gym. I have way more from my MMA gyms, and so like, but still, it's a place where I, make friends still, and I like people there. I mean, I'm into my workout too. I don't want to talk forever, when I'm there, but hello, how are you doing? That sort of stuff, especially on the way out, I just think, and there's nothing wrong with the wave. Everybody knows.
Yeah, just wave. Hey, like, how's it going?
No, I met some cool people from there.
Oh, yes. So have I. I've met some amazing people at the gym, and catch up. It's fun to catch up if you haven't seen them for a while. And but the thing is, I don't want to talk for 20 minutes and interrupt my workout. So
there was actually, I used to go to the gym at 3:00 in the morning, weightlifting gym. And so there's a group, like tight knit group. I have a couple friends from that area, it's like, so those guys are like, they're honestly a lot of those people that were there 25 years ago, it's like, so you get that same old school kind of mentality. I met some great friends at that 3:00 time.
Yeah. What's one of my biggest pet peeve? Well, I don't know if this has ever happened. Maybe it's kind of rare that this happens, but one day I was at the gym, and this middle-aged lady, she comes up to me. We've never talked before, but we've seen each other at the gym, but we've never talked before. But she comes up to me, and she was just, at first it was normal conversation, like, hi, like, how are you? What's your name? Blah, blah, blah. But she kept asking me like questions like, oh, so what do you do? This, that. And then she was like trying to like have me come to this event or whatever, or I forgot what it was, but
was she trying to sell you?
It was something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but she was like trying to like sell me on something, and that just annoyed me. It's like, and I was middle workout too.
People say the strangest things to me. I kind of like my life for that reason, but there's moments when it's too awkward too. And I've had people say some really strange thing to me in the gym.
Oh,
really strange.
Yeah, I have some crazy gym things too, where people have said some weird things.
Yeah.
I'll say one of them. So it was in the sauna. It was in the sauna. It was at nighttime, and this is why I don't go to the gym at night anymore. At least to that gym at night. I go to other gyms at night because I don't have a problem with these other gyms.
Yeah.
But this gym at night, weird people I knew before, didn't want to see, they were there. But anyways, this specific time I was in the sauna, and I will not repeat other things that he said, but I will say he was a little weird.
Yeah.
I was just on my phone like this, like just, I was standing up in the sauna. I was on my phone, and I'm trying to keep good posture and stuff.
Yeah.
And blah, blah, blah. And it was just him and I. That's a part I won't share what I was about to say to that. But he just kept asking me weird questions like, hey, so when do you come? When do you come here? What's your schedule like? And I just, first of all, I don't want to be talked to in the sauna. That's like my decompression time.
Yeah.
And I think that thing that I don't want to say is the only weird part. I just don't want to say it.
Yeah.
And it's very graphic. Let's just say that. I was on my phone.
Yeah.
And he got me looking at my phone with a good posture and said a complete 180 thing. Let's just say it involves something illegal that you do online.
Okay.
How do you say that? How do you get me looking at my phone with a good posture and you say that?
Yeah.
That's weird. Like,
I'm telling. They say some
and
weird stuff.
I instantly wanted to like leave, and I did leave like a minute after he said that, and he tried to say something else, and I just left. So
I've had people say things to me that have made me stay away from those gyms for years.
Yeah, and there was this other guy in the sauna again. This I could say. He was middle aged, and he was like saying, "Hey, you have a really nice, good body." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah," like asking me the same questions as the other guy. When do you come? And I'm like, I come as much as I can. I never say when I come, but I like to keep that as private as possible.
Yeah.
But
Sounds like you better.
yeah, at this point, yeah. So it's fair to say I don't go to that gym at night anymore.
Yeah.
Weird people. Before we end this interview, I want to talk about this other subject that I really had in mind recently. And you brought this up about, I don't believe there's people that say, oh, you can't have a girl as just a friend. And I don't believe that. Like,
Good.
yeah, I don't believe you could have a friend. You could have a girl that's just a friend.
Yeah.
Without having a motive behind it. And I don't understand people that think that way, that, oh, you have to, there's no way you can have a girl as a friend and not think a certain way, or what. Like, come on.
You chose one of the things that I get like the most hate for these days. It's
Really?
funny the things that I get hate for, but yeah, I have an excellent, beautiful network of females in it, you know, in like they're talented and smart and they have huge hearts, you know, comparatively to my, nothing against my male network, you know, it's like, but the women in my network are huge hearts. They want to help the world, you know, want to change the world and stuff. They're friends, right? If you decide that you can't be friends with a female, then now you get rid of some of the best people in the network. I mean, you've now like excluded at least 50% of the population.
Yeah, literally.
And now
yeah.
let's talk percentage-wise of people with big hearts, people with talents. Males and females have a lot of different talents, you know? Like, I don't want to get hate for that, but, you know, we're talented in different ways a lot of times, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, why would you want to get rid of, there's a person, okay, let's say, it's so frustrating to me.
No,
It's
it
like,
really is, actually.
if you have a team comprised of individuals that are amazing at something and they're on a project, you want as much diversity in that team as possible, interdisciplinary thinking. Because somebody could come up with a good idea, the engineer, or the scientist, or the person that's the carpenter, you know, whatever. Now we're going to get rid of our female network, you know, because you can't have enough discipline.
Because you can't keep it in your pants.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, to me, that's lack of discipline.
Yeah.
And those are same probably guys that will say, "Oh, well, she was wearing scantily clad clothing; she deserved it." You know, this is the same mentality.
She deserved it.
This is the same mentality in my mind. You know, it's like somebody told me, you know, yesterday I was sticking up for this actually exact topic.
Yeah.
And he said to me, it's like, it's usually the guys that are holier. He said, well, what does this female network look like, first of all? And then he said, it's usually the guys like you that are holier than thou that have all the skeletons in your closet. And I laugh and I go, dude, have some discipline. You know, it's like, it's frustrating because I've
those
had female,
dudes that act like that, how do they act around other situations in their life?
Yeah.
Like, well, how do they, yeah.
I don't understand that for 1 minute not being able to just be friends with a female.
Yeah.
Right? You're a creeper if you can't.
Exactly.
Like you're a creepy
or
individual.
Goofy weirdo, one of the two.
I mean, I've got people in my network that, you know, I love to death. We're just friends, and they help. You know, it's like producer of our show, Corey, who would hate that I'm even talking about her online, but it's like she is amazing. We could never produce Redefining Heroes without her. There's no way.
Yeah.
Right? I get her out of my network. There's no way we could do it. Right?
Because of one slip up. Ooh, I wonder if, no.
My best employee, hands down, at my first company, female. No way I could have built that business without her. No way, right?
Right.
So, like, and I've got many, many more. And actually, most of my network that's most supportive now are women. You know, it's like, but my point is, kids out there, youth, don't listen to that trash.
And granted, you could still think, oh, they're beautiful, but like that's completely different than flirting with them or like crossing your boundary. That's different. Yeah.
You've got zero discipline if you can't like just be friends with somebody. Especially if that's what they want, it's just friendship. And women are pretty clear about telling you these things too. You know, it's like, I just want to be friends, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Yeah, frustrating. So, like, I get a lot of hate for that though, because there's a lot of men out there that don't think it's possible, and I'm just like,
I don't get
baffled.
that. Like I kind of lose brain cells thinking about that.
If I've like stuttered a lot in the last couple minutes, it's because I'm so astounded that like people can think like this. It like confuses me. And
Like I said, how do they make decisions about other things in life if that's how they think?
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
it just doesn't make sense.
No discipline, no compassion, no like intelligence, in my opinion. If you think those things.
A couple things. Future endeavors for you, Tyler. Future endeavors for you moving forward.
Yeah. So much amazing stuff going on right now. Like you just came to our seminar the other night. It was the first one we've done. We had 120-hour SBPs. I think we had about 70 people show up or so. Heartwarming response, from it. Amazing. The woman that was just in here meeting with me when you came in the office came from that seminar, wanted a little extra help, which we do here. You can book in anytime you want and get some help with your business or podcast or, marketing, whatever we can help with. Love what we're doing. The loftiest goals I have in my life right now are redefining Heroes Do Amazing so we can bring a lot of money to foundations across the world. Now starting this new foster endeavor, it was always something that I wanted to get to. I thought it would be 10 years from now, but there's some things that kicked it in gear earlier, and I'm really excited about that. That's a life plan for me. It will definitely be where I spend the last years of my life if we kick it off, And so, in fact, that's why I like podcasting so much. Everything comes together like Steve Jobs style, right? He said, like, connecting the dots. It's like, I want to be a great storyteller to those kids someday. I picture like sitting around the fire, at the ranch and, telling a story or two, and I want to be good at it, and so, and have a couple. Glaive is also like something that I have to do before this world's done and basically protect small businesses. I think that's going to be our $1 billion company. And we're working on it from the ground level here, as you know, bootstrapping it. We've decided not to fundraise, at least at this time, because we want to control it. We want to build it through community. I think Glaive is going to change the world for underdogs, small business entrepreneurs. And then once we get enough of our community together, we'll be working on regulations for small business in general. And that will fix a lot of things that are going on out there in the world. It helps the middle class. It helps people come from nothing, have something.
It's amazing.
Changes politics, right? Now we have more people in politics because they gain success coming from nothing. And you have to have some success to be a politician, and so...
Some businessmen going into politics. A lot of businessmen.
To that point, it's like a lot of it's...
you agree that America is a business, right?
I do,
yes.
And I believe business fixes... If you're a billionaire right now, you can change a lot of things.
You sure can.
Right? And it's like one of the issues we have is going back to Garth Brooks, right? It's like, so a lot of scenario, and I'm not talking about his family specifically, but it's like a lot of it's generational wealth, right?
Like LeBron's son.
Yeah. And they're actually kind of bad examples in my analogy because generational wealth passed down, right? Those are the people that become most of the politicians these days.
Right.
But they can't totally have hearts for the things of the world, especially on the lower levels where it needs the most help because they never experienced them, right? That's why we need more people from those areas becoming in through success. I think through programs like Glaive, that help small business people become successful. And now they're getting into politics, but they came from here, right? And they're changing the things from here instead of the things they can't understand.
Right.
So in my mind, Glaive changes the world that way.
The other night too, you were also mentioning getting this other. Was it like a space, a venue for possibly another event space, pretty much, right?
Yeah, we so pay attention to the pit of it. If we switch to business track mode for a minute, it's like we originally set out to be here and do more around. We wanted the big building for our own seminars, Studio 2. We wanted a place to speak to people, help people. As you know, we do the free seminars here around education. So we wanted a place for that, but when we're not using it, we want to offset the cost. So we started thinking, well, we'll rent it out for photography, videography. People started renting it for events, right? And now we're renting it for a lot of events, similar to what we threw the other night. And so we're not arguing with that. And so business gives you the pivots, I've learned through years in business now. So we're pivoting that a slight bit, and that now leaves opportunities for other stuff. And so we're looking at, yes, another much larger building. I can't say for sure if that's going to go down, but we're taking a peek at it. We're, being smart about it, which we've learned to do.
Exciting.
Yeah, we're excited about it, but
Yeah.
we put the business plan together. We looked at it. It makes sense in a lot of ways. And so, we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah. One last question for you before we end this. What do you say to people that are just starting a business? Like, what's a quick thing you could say? Like, any advice?
Oh, I can't tell them anything quick, unfortunately.
What's the first things that come to mind for you?
It's going to be way harder than you think it is because the world is telling you the opposite right now. So if you be prepared that it's hard and you go in it knowing you're going to have to work hard, then it won't be setting you up for failure. And if you work hard and you have alignment to a purpose within your business, you will not fail. 100% chance of success. So that's the quickest
You got to be
thing.
all in too.
That's the
Yeah.
quickest thing I can tell you is you don't quit. And then what helps not quit is align it to a mission or a purpose, like I talked about earlier in the episode. And if you don't quit, you will succeed.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yes. Any last words, Tyler, before we end this?
No, Austin.
How did I do?
I love our chats anyways. So
yeah, how did I do?
No, you did great. Glad to be on. You got me thinking a little bit.
One last question.
Yeah.
I will ask this. Why the same black hat, black shirt every day?
So we did a video shoot last night, photo shoot last night. We're working on a account, and I was nominated to be the cowboy. So I was wandering around here last night in a plaid shirt and cowboy hat and stuff. I almost wore that to the interview. Just to mess with you, and so there's not a great reason behind, what I wear. It probably started out, I was kind of thinking about it because we've talked slightly about it before. Yeah. And I used to always wear our shirts for our businesses. And predominantly I liked the black ones the best. So maybe there's somewhere in there where the black shirt comes from. You'll never catch me wearing a logo shirt that isn't somebody I know or my own business, right?
How many black shirts do you own? Like plain black shirts?
Oh, like this, like 50. And you should have seen some other companies I have. I actually have some old Instagram photos. I have stacks of those company shirts like this.
Oh.
And then I ended up after selling those companies, I would give the shirts away, and and then it's just like simplicity. It's one decision I don't care about, it's like, I know what's comfortable. I go in and get the same pair of shoes. Right now, even these shoes are broken. I haven't even made the time to go in and get a pair of shoes. Hey,
these shoes that I'm wearing are at least 5 years old.
Yeah,
so.
I don't put priority into these things.
Yeah.
It's like to me, I'm more focused on doing other things. I could,
You don't want to put much thought into it, huh?
No.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the bigger entrepreneurs do that. Like I never knew that when I started doing it. And so it's not for those reasons. I like simplicity. I like knowing what my size is in these, and I don't even have to try them on anymore. I go in and grab them, and that's that.
First
Simplicity.
thing in the morning. There you go.
There's a lot better decisions I need to make. Right.
There you go. Yeah. Especially being the business owner that you are. How many businesses do you own?
Right now, well, we have 2 new ones that are kicking off in the new year. I would say we have 6 right now.
6. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, keep at it, Tyler.
Yeah. Thanks so much. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. And if you want, you could follow him on Instagram. He makes great messages every day.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate
great
that.
Messages that you could scroll through, and you could even learn a lot just off those 1 minute, minute and a half messages. So
I will have one out there every day.
Every day.
Just like we talked about with business, you have to stay consistency and you have to show up every day. So even with my social media, I do that.
Yeah. You follow the studio, AZ Pod, Backlot Studios. Follow them also.
Yes, please.
There you go.
Come down anytime for our seminars.
There you go. There'll be one again soon next year.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Austin.
Yep.